Dorian. It is still a Category 3 hurricane right now. It has moved nowhere in the last several hours. If you actually plot the longitude of the center of the circulation, it basically did a loop-de-loop. Now, I also want you to notice, look at that satellite picture. You see a nice concentric eye at the beginning, and then as we get to the last few frames, that eye is collapsing, guys. This is good news. This is an indication of weakening of this system. It is still a Cat 3. Now, we will get another update at 8 a.m., so in an hour. We'll see what they say, but that pressure is rising, 951 millibars. Currently winds at 120. We need to get down to 111 for it to be a Cat 2, but it's stationary. We're still seeing some of the bands, coming ashore into Florida. So we still have those hurricane watches and warnings and tropical storm watches and warnings. But I got to tell you, once we get into more detail on this through the show, you'll see this thing is just dry on the west side. It's running into dry air, and it's getting torn apart by high pressures trying to move it in opposite directions. I'll explain all of that coming up in just a minute, but we have those hurricane watches and warnings in Georgia and in South Carolina as the projected path does bring it in this area as we head basically into our Wednesday and then also into our Thursday. So here's the very latest. We want to get you caught up on what we know this morning. More than 11 million are under tropical alerts in Florida, Georgia, and also into South Carolina. Charlotte Motor Speedway opened its campgrounds for evacuees from Hurricane Dorian on Monday. Evacuees from Florida and Georgia have already set up camp at Atlanta Motor Speedway. And according to Gas Buddy, outages in South Carolina are beginning to rise, while gas outages in Florida are declining. Now we want to check in with Jim Cantori and Stuart. And Jim, not only do we have this thing starting to look a little ragged on our satellite, on the west side of this, as you look at the radar, I mean, it is dry, which it couldn't have better news for Florida.
No, I mean, this is an ocean event now. What's the ocean going to do at the time of high tide? What's going to happen in the river, the St. Lucie, the Indian River, on those areas, especially, now that our wind is almost starting to turn a little bit more northerly, too. So that's what it's become. But you know what? Here's the deal before everybody starts freaking out. When you have a storm that's forecast to come this close, you absolutely have to prepare. All right? And that's exactly what the state of Florida did. So I couldn't be happier about that. West Palm Airport's closed. Fort Lauderdale till noon today. Orlando's closed. You need to go other places, go to the western side of the state, or go down to Miami afterward. So again, as Steph was talking about, look at the satellite presentation since 11 o'clock last night. Bye-bye eye, at least from an infrared satellite. We can still see it on the radar, but it's not as cylindrical, stretch the imagination, than it was. And it looks like the last picture of the satellite has actually seen it jog to the north a little bit. So is this, in fact, finally a decent move, or does it dilute before it finally starts to move on to the north? All right, winds on the coast aren't even tropical storm force in terms of sustained. We're going to get the highest gusts with the rain bands.
Did you hear that?
End of story.
End of story.
Those gusts could be up to 60 miles an hour, like they've been at the St. Lucie Nuclear Power Plant and also at Juno Beach.
Did you hear that?
60 as well.
That's the first time I've heard them bring up the power plant. We need to watch this, people.
In terms of an actual measurement on the ground. Tropical storm force winds extending out just to the coast, but most of those are in gusts, by the way. And the fact that this never
Exactly.
west of Freeport, in terms of its center, we are keeping the strongest winds well to our east, about 70 miles to our east.
Exactly what we predicted a week ago.
Anywhere on the Florida coast.
But they couldn't figure it out.
Most of the highest probabilities of wind, again, are kept off the shore for hurricane.
Listen to this one more time.
Anywhere, we are keeping the strongest winds well to our east, about 70 miles to our east. So we're not even touching those hurricane force winds anywhere on the Florida coast. If you get them, they will be in a thunderstorm or in a rain band. Most
Wow.
probabilities of wind
Not
are
even
kept
touching
off the shore for hurricane.
those wind speeds anywhere in Florida.
That's what we're gonna get. Storm surge, still a little different up there.
We evacuated
Georgia, where you're a couple
millions of people.
southeast
Everybody
winds,
spent
east winds,
millions on
we still have
everything.
water in there. We still have water issues. That's not going to change. But they're not going to be certainly as bad as what we had in Matthew, I don't believe, by any stretch of the imagination. Radar presentation also starting to show kind of a dry west side here. So we're
'Cause it
starting to
wasn't
see
a
this thing
hurricane.
coming apart a little bit. The hurricane hunters are on their way out. They're going to be in this storm And of course, give us new information for the 8 o'clock advisory. I would not be surprised at all, Jen, given satellite and radar, that we have a weaker storm. Of course, that doesn't mean much if you're in Grand Bahama Island now, does it?
Yeah, because you guys wiped them out with this weapon.
I mean, that water's still just sloshing all over the island, and
Love how they act like they care.
Certainly, we still have to prepare for the worst case scenario here, which modeled after we know could have some big impacts in eastern North Carolina, and you don't want to be stuck on the Outer Banks during a hurricane, and that's why evacuations have begun. I'm going to bring in right now the director of Dare County Emergency Management, Drew Pearson. Drew, let's talk about evacuations. I understand they're beginning today for visitors.
Can you believe they're still evacuating people?
All our visitors have been ordered to evacuate. We have a mandatory evacuation order in place for our visitors. We need to ensure that
This is just insane. This is in North Carolina. You guys, please pay attention to everything going on. They know what they're doing. They use some type of a weapon, a water weapon, because obviously the one thing that we did see are these surges. And the same thing in Michael. These last, if you look at Michael and at Dorian, they're like an F4 tornado with storm surge because the winds are so compacted. It is nothing like a normal hurricane. And thank God everybody's opening their eyes to this lies and all this deception, because you guys, we got to look out for each other. People lost their life in the Bahamas. This just shouldn't have happened the way that this did. How can people believe that a storm literally has been stationary for almost 24 hours, has not moved, yet all the other weather patterns are moving? Please open your eyes. Pay attention. Watch Mike Morales. He has a great show every single night, and he is on top of this. God bless all you guys.